and some stuff, right?
Right.
So today we'll be touching upon some advanced things in lists, right? So
Okay.
again, whenever we are talking about lists, right? So we have just seen something called list, right?
Right.
So now I hope you guys have understood like what exactly is a list, right? So list is
Yeah.
something which stores data. This is something for storing data, right? As
Oh,
in real time websites or some applications, they use something called databases or files or some other things to store data, right? But in SharePoint we have something called lists to store data, fine.
okay.
So, and we have seen different kinds of lists till now. I hope you understood. We have seen something called libraries, right?
Yeah.
Library is again a kind of list, and we have used something called custom lists, right? Custom list is we have created our own list like shopping, right? If you can see here, we have created something called grocery, right? These are
Right.
custom things we have created, which is nothing but a custom this, and we also created something called shop docs, right? Which is yesterday we have seen something to how to check in, check out, all those things, right? So libraries are something, right, which are used for maintaining documents, where we have all the properties like checking in, checking out, right, locking up, maintaining the versions, keeping, giving the access to, and all these things, right? So that is nothing but a library. And we have seen something called custom list, where if you want to save contacts, right, I can go and save contacts. I can go and save something called grocery list. I can also have something called calendar list, right?
Right.
All these things I can have, right? So these are nothing but complete lists, right? So everything whatever selecting are nothing but lists, but only changes, some lists are used as libraries. So whenever you hear something called library in SharePoint, it means it all the purpose of library is for maintaining.
One second. Just
Sure,
give me 1 second,
sure,
okay?
sure,
I'll be
sure,
back. Sorry, one noise in my background.
sure. Here we said there is a library, right?
Right.
There is a library and custom lists, and so these are again nothing but sources of data saving sources we have in SharePoint, which is nothing but list, right? So library is
Right.
something which is used for maintaining documents, right? And custom lists are right, it is something for creation of your own data. Like you can maintain something called employee record, right? You can maintain something called contact list, right, which is straightforward. So under custom
Right.
list we have created something called calendar list. If you remember, we have created something called calendar list, right? Where we have seen
Yeah.
something called creating calendars, and we have seen something called custom list, where we have created something called groceries, right? And we have
Right.
created mall records and all. So these are nothing but a custom list and library. So that's why that's why we are learning more something called lists, and library is something which comes under again list topic, right? So today
Right.
we'll be touching upon today. I hope today and the next class we'll be touching upon the advanced topics in lists, right? And we'll be giving the complete focus on list and what exactly we can do with list, and how to interact between one list and other list, right? Even we can do that, right? How
Okay.
to create a
Okay.
validations, how
Right.
to write a program. Today we'll just see some small. It is not actually program. I should say it as a condition, right? Where you can write some conditions in your column and all, right? So let us, see all
Right.
those things for today and next class, right? Fine.
Okay.
So now let's go back to now let us do one thing. Let's create a new blank site again, right? Where let us fine. Let's go to shop. These are things, okay. Now let's do one thing. Go back to collection, property collection, okay. Let's create a blank site so that we can create something new. So today for this purpose, right, we'll be checking out something called let us take a use case first, okay? Then we'll discuss what it is, right? Today we'll
Okay.
we'll see something called, we'll be checking out what actually I want to make you understand. We have so many options in creating columns, creating lists, right? I just want to touch upon the complete stuff in this topic, right? And it may be today and even in next class. We'll be completing in next class the complete list, right? And then we'll be moving on
Okay.
to next topics, right? So that's why I just wanted to give a complete overview with the advanced topics in here. So for this, let me take
Okay.
an use case first. So let us say we'll be talking about something called training institutes, right? Training institutes, where they'll be having something called courses, right? They'll be having some courses where that can be something like, and I mean Sharepoint, Java, .NET, and all. So we can make a list, or we can make a list of some courses, right?
Right.
So under this course, let us say we'll be creating something called, so there'll be something called course name, right? So let me first define it here, so that we can use the same thing in our creating list, okay? There is a course
Okay.
name. Let me take it as a first list, right? Let us say there is a course name, and for some course there will be something called duration, right? So the course will be of some duration, and let us say and duration, and I can give some overview of what actually the course is all about, and let us say the fees, right? Let us take these three fees, and what can we have? Courses can be course name, duration, fees. Yeah. So let us take it as one list, right? So where I have
Okay.
something called courses, and we have something called these things. Now let us create something else called faculty, right? Faculties, because for each course or multiple courses there will be faculties, right? The guys who will be teaching, right? So let us create
Yeah.
that one, like let us take something called faculty name. The first column is faculty name, right? And now let us see something called photo, the photo of faculty, right? Let us see how actually we can create a list where we can also have a photo of a person, right? And a faculty will have something called experience, right? Experience, we'll see, and let us say, let me take it as joining date of faculty, right? So here we'll be seeing like faculty can have name, photo, experience, and yeah, and we have to get something called courses, like what courses he can teach, right? Now, but here what I want to use is whatever courses I have in my institute, right? In my institute, I want my faculty to give those courses, right? But I want to make sure whatever courses I have listed here should be used here. Fine. So so in this column, so this is one of the column, right? So we'll be using the data from this list. We'll see how we can tag this list with this column. Fine. We'll be seeing that. Okay. And let us say now we'll be checking upon something called designation, and what we'll do here, we'll calculate something. We'll calculate something like based on experience, we'll be calculating something called designation. Calculating in the sense, let us say a guy is of experience 1 year, right? So let us make him as a fresher or a trainee, right? And let us take something like if a guy is less than 3 years, he can be a junior faculty, and if a guy is more than 3 years, he can be a senior. That is designation, right? Which depends on something called experience. Fine. So we'll be taking up experience. Basically, we'll be taking up experience. We'll write some code to actually give the value of designation. Fine. Fine. So till here, let us say this is a faculty, and next we'll take up some. So they have called, there is a course, there is a faculty, and there can be something called batch, right?
Right.
So let us say there is a batches going on. Let me take something called batches list, and now in the batches list, there can be something called, let us say institute is giving some name for that batch name, right? We'll be seeing what it is, and there let us take up something called location here, like where actually the batch is being located, right? And again batch will take some codes, right? Codes. Again we'll be taking something called codes from here. Again we'll be tagging the codes of a batch from the codes table again. So we'll be seeing how to do that. And again for each batch there will be some faculty, right? So the faculty
Right.
again will be taken from here. So we'll never be using faculty faculty or course directly. What we have to do is we will be doing some inter data communication between these fields, which is very important, right? And after that, let
Okay.
us say we have something called starting date. Starting date, like from when the batch will be starting, right? So this will, let us say this is a use case, right? Where I have a training institute. So in these two classes today and in next class we'll be seeing basically these use case, right? We'll be building upon. We'll be taking each and every list and each and every column as different, so that you can understand each and every different permutations and combinations of lists being created, right? Right. So with this understanding, let us go and create something. Okay. First, let me create a site first, blank site, and let me give it as something like info institute, like some, right, some institute, some name, and let us give URL as info institute, right, and just create it up some blank site. Creating this blank site just for to make sure everything is clear. So we'll be not touching anything which is already being created, right?
Okay.
So let me create the fresh one. Okay, now so everything is here now, right? So it's a very clean now. We say that it's a info institute. Now let us start creating. Now I hope whatever I'm doing now, I'll be creating anyways basic list will be, I hope you will understand much better, because this will be again some parts of these two classes will be repetitive for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for that again you have to go to, again I hope you remember this, you have to go to site actions,
Blank site.
go to info
Yeah.
institute, right? Go to more options, right?
Options.
Right, you have to select something called lists, right? So we have already seen some of these contacts, calendar and all, right? So we'll be selecting something called custom list. So now this list is nothing but your courses, right? Let me copy this up and let me make it as courses, right? And create. Now one of my list is being created, right? So here, so what I'll be doing, so in each and every time whenever you create a list, have you noticed this, Shruti? Like whenever you create a list or something, every time your title will be created, right? And this is again a mandatory field. Okay, so this is again a mandatory field. So now what we'll do, we'll add all the columns whatever we are opting to, right? We said course name, duration, overview and all, right? So while learning each and every column, we'll be learning about what actually the column type is, what actually we can do then, right? So let us see, let us take up on course name first, and let me just replace this title. Let me use the same column, and let us see how to actually rename the text. Okay, fine. Let's go back to list settings again, because in list settings you can edit all the things in list, right? And now there is a title here. Click on this. If you click on this, it will take you to the column of that, right? And here I have a column name called title. So here let me just replace this with course name, right? And let me just say this is course name column. Okay, let me take it as column, right? And here, can you see here, requires that this is a column contains. We have already seen this, which means I'm making it as a mandatory, right? Right. And here, can you see this option, Shruti? It says enforce unique values, which means when you click yes, it means you can give only different values in this. I cannot say Sharepoint 2 times. Fine, I can give Sharepoint only once, right? So that is what you are making it unique. Whenever you say unique values, I think it means that you are making this column as a primary column. Fine. And let the maximum number of what does maximum number of characters means, like how many characters maximum you can give for a for actually naming a course, fine. And default value, we let us leave this as it is now, and let's say okay. And see here, it says this column must be indexed to enforce unique value. Do you want to index? So what is the indexing? Indexing is nothing but forcing your column to accept only unique values, fine. We will see when adding details, you will see what exactly it is, right? And let me say okay. So now your right, see here, your column changed to coursing, fine. Now let's go back here to courses again. Let's see, you can see the course name here, right? Now let us start adding something called other columns again, right? So let us take the duration. Let me go to how to change the how can we add columns? Go to list.
List.
You can say
List.
something called, either you can add it from here or you can add it from, let us
Okay.
add one column from here first. Create a column, right? Now let me take this as a duration, and let me take this as a number one, right? Which is I want to accept only numbers in this duration, fine. And let me take additional column settings as this is for duration or something, right? And okay, you can just say whether you want to mention the require, these two are again same. And this here, you can see here, right? You can also mention your maximum and minimum duration you want to specify. Let us say I'm taking some 10 days as a minimum and 100 days as a maximum period of a course, right?
Right.
And here you can see number of decimals. So let us say I don't want any decimal, keep it as 0, right? And default value, here you can see that if you want to make a default value, you can just say number, just select something called, let me give default value as 10 hours, fine, and keep as it is. And I hope you know what is a view, right? What is a view, right? View is something which will be created for so what columns to, right, to set a view of your list. So let me say
Okay.
default view, because whenever you say default view, all the actual primary view will be set. So let us say okay.
Right.
So here, so what I have done, I have just added a column called duration, right? Now let's go back again and let us see what else is there. We have something called overview. Now again, so notice here, Trupti, I'm for each column, okay, I'll be taking different options, right? This duration was number, right? So in each thing I'll be taking different. That's why we are just repeating this, right? And let me create a column from here. Let us go back to lists. Okay, we have something called course, duration and all. Let's create from here. How to create? Just select on create column. Go back to column name. Let me give it as a overview. Now this time let me select something called multiple lines, right? Multiple lines are something where actually when we selected single line, which means you can give only something which can be shown in one line. Let me take something in multiple lines, because overview can be any number of lines, right? So let me select multiple lines, right? So in multiple lines, okay, let us you can give description like yes, the overview is something, right? And requires, you can just make it as optional. If you don't want to make it mandatory, just say no. And here it says number of lines of editing, like how many numbers of lines you can enter. Let me give it as leave it as it is, right? And see here we have something called 3 options here, which is plain text, rich text, enhanced rich text. So here plain text means you will not be able to do something called next line or bullet or coloring and all. If you select something called rich, all your word options to make it bold, make it some or different lines, make it bulleting, everything will be enabled. And enriched is something where you can also add something called pictures and something. So we don't need anyways this. Let us take some, for some overview, let us take something called rich text, right? And we have an option called append changes to existing text. So again this is something where again a versioning will come. So this will be used only during libraries, so we don't need it here. So again click it as default view and click OK. So now here you can see your overview column is being added. Now let's go back again. Let us take a fees here. again go back to create column, give it as fees. Now let us take some other thing of column type called currency. We have already seen currency, but let me take it again, right? And let us say I have currency, and okay, just say yes, I want the currency like fees of a course should be mentioned, so that's why I said yes, required is yes. Now you can also mention something called what is the maximum and minimum fees allowed. Let us say it allows something called some $100 to some let us say $2,000, so the minimum and maximum. And let me allow this much to 2 because it's a fees is price, right? And default value let's leave as it is. And currency format, you can keep any format, it can be dollar, it can be anything else, right? So let us give dollar and add to default view, just say okay. We are just creating a minimum of that, right? So now let's go to courses. Can you see here? Now whatever we want is being created, right? Course name, duration, overview, fees, right? Let's add up some values here. Let me add some items here, which is course name. Can you see here? Default is again it came something done because we gave something called default there, right? So that's why it will give you default value. So course name, let me take it as Sharepoint, right? And duration, okay, let me take it as something called 25 days or 25 hours. Now here, can you see here? I said rich text box, right? You can see here it provides everything. Like let us say Sharepoint will be of 25 days course, right? And topics, you can just say topics here. Can you see? I'll just say 1, right? Some lists. I'll just say 2, like something called libraries, right? 3, something called web parts, right? I can do anything. 4, something called wiki pages, how to create a wikis and blogs, how to create them, right? All those stuffs and all, right? And fees, let us say it is of something called $300, right? And let me first enter something called $50 because we have given some maximum and minimum, right? So let us check what happens here. Let me save it up. Can you see here? It says the value must be between 100 and 200, right? So that is where we have created something called validation. So let me give something like some $150, right? Let me save it up. Now can you see here how overview is so that is something called rich view, right? So if you select something called plain view, everything will be shown in one line. Fine. So that is one restriction. Now let me add one more thing. Like
so what's this rich view you said?
Rich view, can you see here? When you take something, or rich view is something. Let me go to the column name again. I'll show you where it is. Let me go to list settings. Let me go to course name. Can you see? I'm sorry, not course name. It is list settings. Overview, right? Now in this overview, can you see here? Specify the type of text to allow. We have something called plain text, right? We have something called
right.
Let me select plain text once, okay? Let me select plain text and click OK. It says changing the input to plain text will remove fonts and colors for formatting for this column. Let me say OK. Anyways, let us see what happens now. Let us go back to courses. Let me just go and add a new item. Can you see here? There is any formatting been provided? No, right?
No,
let me
nothing.
take Java.
Simple,
okay, let me take something as 60 days. Let me give something. This is Java course, right? And if you enter it, let us say let me say contents, right? Something like 1 is oops to something called multi-threading, some courses, like 3 is some files and all. Let me say dot and I just say something called some $500 and just save it, right? Again you can see this, but the thing is you will never be able to color them. Fine.
Yeah, it's in plain text.
right? Yeah, it will be plain text. Let's go back and see something. Let's overview and just say plain rich text box, right? Now let us go back to courses and let me edit this up. Go back to this and edit item, right? I can see here, see, if you want to make this bold and colored, right? Make it bold and something called colored green, right? Can you see the color now? So it means you can do all these
Yes,
steps, whatever you
changed.
want, right? Just save it up, right? Can you see here? So this is nothing but your rich view. But when you select something called normal view, it will be shown in something which where you can't do any formatting, right? Again, as we have selected something called rich view, again you can change your format of this. Again, say it bold, go to this and let us say take it as this again and save, right? Again,
Right.
whenever you go back and change the view of column type of text type of overview again to plain, again all these things will be again will come to the normal, right? So that is one thing will happen, fine. Let's go back again and just say I have something called C# .net, right? And let us say it takes something like 85 hours. Let me say this is .net and content is some again something called oops, right? And let us say we have something called WCF, and we have something called Silverlight, right? And some other. So let me give some new thing for this and make it some other color, right? And make it something like bold. Okay, and just make it and fees let us say something it's $600 and just say save, right? You can see this now it looks more better, right? So whatever we were
Yes.
doing, so with compared to that it looks a better view, right? So that's what
This is also a rich view, right?
exactly. So this is nothing but a rich view. We have
Okay.
added something for it is not even like just showing some data, show it in a rich way, right? So that is what happens here.
Right.
Now here in here itself I just see one thing. Let us say unintentionally I just deleted this item unintentionally, but my actual feeling was I don't wanted to delete that, right? But I deleted it, right? But in SharePoint you
Okay.
can also recover the same item. From where you can recover is you have something called recycle bin, right? Just go back to recycle bin, right? You can see all your items being deleted from there. Can you see here?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Just select it
Where
and
was your item for recycle bin? I didn't see that.
sorry,
Where was your recycle bin icon? I didn't see that.
here can you see this? Can you see something called in the same page?
Rec-
Let me go back again. Info Institute. We were in course
Okay.
and we deleted something called and anyways for a page this recycle bin will be always there at this. Can you see my pointer here, recycle bin? It is written here, right? Trupti, can you see is my
Yeah.
screen visible? Yeah. So when you click on
Yeah, I can
recycle
see
bin
on.
it will
Oh,
take you to
yeah.
this, okay? And if you want this
Restore
record,
selection.
can you see this name? This is the record which is anyways you can't see the you can see only the name of record, only the name of
Yeah.
something wherever you delete, because fine. You will never be able to see something called the overview and all, only the name of that, fine.
Okay.
If you want
Okay.
to
Right.
get it
Right.
back, check on it and say restore selection. Are you sure you want to restore? Yes, right. So what happens here, it will be restored
It
and
goes
it will
back
remove from
to.
here. If you go back to courses it will be there, fine.
Okay,
So
but
yeah,
you're on the course page. On the course page, where is the recycle bin on top? I can't see it.
on a course page, no, it's a course is a list. Course is not a page. Course is a list.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You can see
List.
course.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, course is a list
Yeah.
in something called Info Institute page.
For
Here,
institute.
yeah,
Okay.
Info Institute is some site where can you see here courses is under something called lists. right?
List, right.
Yeah. And anyways, we don't need these two, right? Let's delete these things first, so that it will be more clear now. Let's go back to quick launch, right? And let's select libraries and delete them. We don't need that. Discussions, delete them. We don't need that, right? It will be more clear now, right? Go to info institute. Now it's clear, right?
Right.
You have something called list.
Yeah,
Under this,
recyclability.
you have something called course list. Now you can play with this, right? How to, if you delete something,
Right.
if you just say delete something, okay, right, it will be deleted from here. Here itself you have something called recycle bin. Go back, click on that, restore.
Okay, yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I saw it. I couldn't see it earlier. Yeah.
Okay, fine, not a problem, not a problem.
My eyes are playing tricks.
No problem. So here, so we have created something called courses now, right? Some courses which we have. Now let's go back to our use case one again. So we have completed this fees thing, right? So let us go and create something called now. So in here itself, let us say okay, fine, not a problem. We'll move to next first. Let us say now let us create a again some other list for faculties. You will be seeing how to why I am creating these main lists is I want to show you how to interact between two lists. It's very important, right?
Okay.
How to interact
Right.
between two lists and how to get data of courses to faculties, faculty to batches, right? And again courses
Right.
to batches and all interconnecting, right? So now let's go and create a new list. So how to create a new list again? Go to site actions, more options, right? Let me go to list and click on custom list and say something called faculties, right? So we are about to create something called faculties, right? Under faculty, let us see the different things in here, which is faculty name, photo. We'll see each column as a different type. Fine,
Right.
fine. Let's go back and just you can also go back to more options, right? In more options, you can just leave this is a list for faculties. Fine. And I want to here you have something called display quick launch. Yes, I want to display it, right?
Yeah.
Click on create.
Right.
So now you can see here, right? Faculties is there and courses is there, right? Now go back to faculties,
Right.
right? And now again, what we want to add, we want to add something called faculty name first. So copy that up and go back to this. And again, here there is a column which we don't need, but it will be displayed for mandate, right? So let's go back and
Right.
rename this up. How to rename? Go to list,
List.
list settings, and let's go back and select that particular title, right? And
So,
select something called faculty name. I'm replacing. Okay, now. So here I will again say that yes, this require that this column contains information which is yes, and
yes.
and also say that enforce unique values, because a faculty name sometimes can be same, right? Sometimes a faculty name can be same, right? So that's why we cannot make
Right.
it a unique value. Or if you want to maintain unique, you can also maintain, because you can append something to the faculty, right? Let me just make it a
Right.
unique, or you can just leave as it no. And let us say my maximum number of characters 255. I can just say okay. Fine. So your faculty name is created now. So let us create from here itself. You can create something called create columns, right? So let's create from here itself photo. So again, this is very important one. So we'll be learning some new thing here. Let's go to create column and just say photo. Now can you see here, a photo can be something like hyperlink or picture. Can you see this? Right?
Right.
So let me select a hyperlink, this option which is hyperlink or picture, right? So we'll be seeing when we actually add item into photo, I'll explain you how to give a hyperlink or picture, fine? But let me give a name, column name, and let us take something called hyperlink or picture, and let us give this is the picture of faculty, right? And let us say that it requires this contains, let us say yes or no, right? Sometimes some guys don't want to give their image, so that's fine, so don't make it mandatory, right? And format URL as, so first let us take it as picture, right? Let us see how to embed a picture, and yes, I want to add it to default view, right? When you say add to default view, which means this column will be displayed, fine. Let's click on OK. So we got something called photo, and then let's go back and say yes, I want something called experience. Now Now let us again create a column. Let's say column name to be experience, right? And now let us take something else now. Experience. Let us take something called choice.
So
Yeah.
depending on the column name, you can put the type of information you need, right? Either choice, multiple, or lookup, or something like that.
Yep. Depending on column type, yes, you can.
Column
But
type,
but
yeah.
but the thing is, based on your column type, you can have your inputs, right? When I
Right.
selected when I selected something called currency, you can only enter some number, right? If you have some
Yeah.
number, right, in that way. So now let us see something called choice. What is choice? Choice in the sense we are providing whenever we add a column, right? Whenever we add a record to this list, at that time I'll explain you what is a choice, fine? But here,
Okay.
at here itself, choice is something where you know what is a combo box, right? You would have seen for selecting some country, you'll be getting some. See here, I think I can show you some choice here. Okay, fine, not a problem. I'll show you what is a choice, right? When you give an option called choice, which means you are restricting a guy from some numbers, right? You will be giving some choices for him. So how to give is this again. So require this column contains information. Let us say yes, the experience should be mentioned for a faculty, right? And here, can you see here? Type each choice at a separate line. So let me give some choices here. Let us say a guy you have got some 0 experience, 1 experience, 2 years of experience, 3 and 4 and 5. Let us take some values like this, right? And we have some options called drop down. What is drop down? Do you know what is a drop down? Drop down is nothing but
Yeah. The
an,
drop down arrow.
yeah, correct, drop down arrow. And I think you know radio buttons. These are nothing but radio buttons. Yes, no, are radio buttons, right?
Okay.
And checkbox
Okay.
is something where you can select multiple
You
checks.
check the box.
Yeah, so that is
Right.
checkbox. But I think for our experience, he can select only one. Let us take it as a drop down. Fine. And allow fill in choices. So what does it mean? Allow fill in choices. So I hope you have seen something like so when you book and when you book some ticket to some people, right? So let us say in some choice, if there is no country or some place being mentioned, you can type that place, which means
Yeah.
you can select from choice or else you can type in. So that is nothing
Type
but
it
a
in,
fill in
yeah.
choice, right?
Okay.
Fine. So let us say yes. Let me take for demo purpose. Let us say yeah. You can also enter if you want to enter, right? And let us say default
Right.
value. Let us give it as 0, and I have to default value yes. Click on OK. Now we have added something called experience. Now let us go back and what is next one? Okay, joining date. Now take this one, create column. Okay, and you have something called create column. Let's go back to this is we want it as a date, right? We have something called date time. So you have to select date time because among all there is only one type which is date time, but if you want to restrict it only if you want to see only date or both date time, you can restrict here. Can you see here? You have something called date and time format where if you want you can just say date only or date time. So let me just give I just wanted date only, right? And I said
Okay.
require this column, yes I want, or you can just skip this. I don't want the joining date of a faculty, it's fine with me, right? And default value, it says default value. If you don't give any date time, it will take let me for demo purpose let us take this up, right? Default value today, right? If you don't give anything, it will take the date on the date when you're actually adding something called joining date, I mean record, right? And add it to something and just click on OK. Fine, your joining date got added. And next is something courses. Now here this is again very important. Now here I'll show you how to connect to this, right? So how to connecting to some other list is again something called column type. Create column. Let me give it as courses. Now can you see this lookup? Can you see read this? It says information already on this side, right? So if you select something called lookup, which means you can select from some other lists or some other things already been provided in the same site, right? If you go down, I
Okay.
say requires yes. Okay, now can you see here get information from I can you see the list we have created?
Yeah.
So we have
It
created
says
something
here.
called courses and faculties, right? So let me take courses here, or you can also collect from existing, but let us say I want courses and I want the, can you see all the list items from
Course name.
previous, you can see this columns, right?
Right.
All the columns is being displayed here,
Yeah.
right? Modified version. And let me
Right.
take something called course name. I want all course names, right? And again it says add multiple values, right? And yes, correct, because a faculty can teach more than one course, right? So let us say yes, right? So that's it. And add a column to show. Okay, now it says when course name is selected, if you want to show something else, right? Let us say I want to show just a duration of course, right? Whenever I select course, I also want to show duration, right? And come down.
Right.
Yeah, this is very important relationship. Now here see enforce, but anyways it is disabled here as of now. Let us see this when we in other situation, which is batches, right? Let us just remove as keep as it is. Just say okay, I'll explain you this relationship when we come to batches. Now we have something called, we have what we have added, few course, we have something called courses. Now we understood how we are linking with this, right? We use
Right.
something
Yeah.
called lookup. Lookup is a type of column which you have to use, right? Where you can get all the lists being already created in your site, and you can select from that site which list and which column to be mapped. If you select this column, that column will be mapped with this course, right?
Right.
And next we have something called designation. Let's go and create this. Create. Now again this is something which is again very important. Let me create something called designation. I said designation will be calculating or will be computing this designation based on our experience, right? So we'll be writing that. We'll be writing a simple. So here we have something called designation, and let us select something called multiple line choice number. No date time. No. Yeah. Can you see this? Calculated. I said based on our experience. Let us take in this way. Let us say if my experience, if a guy's experience is, let me take the use case again here. Let us say if a guy is 1 year, if a guy is less than 1 year experience, right? Let us say he is a fresher, right? And
Right.
if he is something like we can say less than 3 years, right? Let me take some simple use case, right? Let me take it as a junior faculty, right? And if a guy is or I can say less than or equal to here, right? If a guy is greater than 3 years, he'll be a senior faculty, right? Let us take these three items, right? So this is nothing but 1, 3. These are nothing but our experience levels, and will be based on the type, based on experience you are providing. Automatically, your designation should be calculated, right? So that is nothing but your calculation based on other columns, right? Now let us write a formula here how to calculate. Now see, it will give you an option like additional column settings. It will give you something called formula. Can you see here? Now here you have to write a formula. Like we'll write a formula in this way, like if, right, if something called experience, double click on experience, it will take you to this place. If experience, right, is, let me write in notepad, you will understand better, right? I'll just copy this experience. So we say, can you see this?
Yep.
One sec. See, okay. If is equal to if, right? I say experience. This is my condition here. If experience, right? What we took here, we just took if it is less than 1, he is a fresher, right? We say if it is less than 1, we write if condition this way. If this is a condition less than 1, comma, right? I should get something called fresher, or else I should get something called junior. But again I have something called two different conditions again. So in the else condition I'll write something called if again. If my experience is something called less than or equal to 3, right? Then let me take it up as, if it is less than 3, okay, right? So if it is less than 3, so it should be a junior lecturer or junior faculty, or some, it will be senior. So you have any doubts in here? Are you able to
So far,
understand this?
no. I'm kind of following, yeah.
Yeah, basically we write in a normal programming in this way. If experience, right, we write in this way. If, let me take this example, I'll show you something. If experience is less than 1, right, we write in this way. Programming is in this way, right? Less than 1, we
Okay.
say that it should be fresher, right? Fresher. And else, if experience is less than 3, right, he should be someone called junior, right? Else, which means else case in the sense, if these two conditions are not there, which means he'll be greater than 3, right? I'll just say else,
Right.
else he'll be a senior. So this is equal to this. I'm just saying if experience is less than 1, which means if my experience is less than 1, I just said he is a fresher. So here after comma, it means if it is true, it will come to this condition, or if it is false, it will go to next condition. Fine.
Second.
Fine. So here what I'll do, if I'll take up this, if experience is less than 3, less than or equal to 3, he should be a junior or a senior. Now,
Senior.
so this is the condition, right? So now if experience is less than 1, he should be a fresher, and if experience is less than or equal to 3, he should be a junior or else senior. Fine. Let me copy this and let me paste it here. Fine. So that is again, so here we are just taking the designation. If you see here, we are calculating something called designation, right, based on our experience, and we are writing a simple logic here. Fine. Let me go and say okay. Fine, it added, right? So let me add something, then you'll understand, right? Now this list is more interesting, right? Sorry, this list is more interesting. You can see, right, it is growing something like we are using the previous list and we are creating different things like date time. We are creating something called photo and all, right? So that's why this list will show you everything. Let's go back to faculties again. Now you can see all the columns here, right? Sorry?
No, I'm saying you can see all the columns are there.
Yeah, you can see all the faculty name, photo, experience, joining date, courses. Right? Can you see here? It says courses duration, right? So I think we gave this in this way. Courses duration. So we gave. Okay, not a problem. Let us add something. Now first thing is, it says faculty name, right? I'll just say faculty 1. Let us take it as a faculty 1, right? And can you see here, it is asking for some address. Either it want an address or something else, right? You can give something called web address or something. Am I right? So now let me do one thing. Let us go to Google once. Let me take a URL first. Let us see whether it works for link or not. Let me go to images, right, and let us say I want some just take some Dexter Laboratories images, some image, right? Okay, let me go to this image, right, and click on this. Okay, so this is a link, right? Let me copy this link and keep it here. Just copy it here, some link, and click here to test.
Okay.
When I click here, can you see this?
No.
Okay, anyways, let us keep this, right? I'm just giving an image here, right? For this guy, I just took something. Okay, I'll just say, okay, this is the image. Let us see when we add it, we'll see the effect, right? We just took some link where your photo is uploaded. I'm just taking it out, right? Now experience. Let us say I'm giving something called one experience, right? One is nothing but it is less than, or let me give it as 0 first, or let me give it as 2. So when a guy is 2 years experience, what does it mean? It means it should be, I'll go to this. When a guy is 2 years experience, he should be a junior. Fine. So now go back and say, okay, joining date. Okay. So can you see here? It automatically gave joining date as today's date.
Good. Today's date.
Fine.
Yeah.
Today's date. That's what. Like if you don't give something called default, it won't give. Now can you see here courses? Whatever courses we have added, like Java, Sharepoint, .NET, everything came here, right? So that is nothing but whatever you add there will be shown here. Fine. So let us say, and also you can add something. Let us say faculty 1 can teach SharePoint and faculty 1 can also teach some C#, right? So we have added something. Again, you can move here and there. Fine. Now save. If you save, can you see here photo? Faculty 1, right? We can see his photo here, and so here, can you see this experience is 2, right? And oops, it is showing something called senior, but what should it show?
Junior.
It should
Junior.
show something called junior, right? But why it is showing senior? Let's go back and debug. Go to list. So these type of things you'll be getting anyways, right? And let me go back to something called lists. Okay, and let us go back to designation. Okay, when we created something, it is int. Sorry, we should convert this to int, right? Int experience, and let me just take that as int. So I'm just converting this to integer. So you understood what I'm doing? What I'm doing is,
Why did you put int?
what I'm doing is, so we are calculating something from experience column, right? But experience column, if you remember, experience column was this column experience. I'll just show you that first. I'll just show you that. If you go to experience column, experience was a choice. Can you see this choice, right? And we gave something called 0, 1, 2, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. What are these? 0, 1, 2, 3 are not numbers here. I can also write something, right? I can also write something. So that's why each and every item is not considered as a number. It is considered as some string or character. But what I am trying to do here, I'm trying to check whether a number, right? It should be a number, right? Whether my experience is less than a number. But experience is not a number here. It is a character. So which means I'm checking like this. If character 1 is less than 1, which is not correct. That's why what I'm doing is I'm changing this to int, which means I'm converting my experience character into my integer. Fine. Fine. You'll get these things when you actually start actually programming. Fine.
Practices.
So you'll get these simple programs anyways, right? So that's why what I've done. When we went to faculty, we just went to list, right? So that's why what I made is we just went to designation and we changed something called int. Let us go back and see whether now can you see here? It's a junior.
Change to junior.
Let's add one more. Let's add one more here. Add item. Let us say faculty, right, 2, right? And now let us say you want to give some image which is from your local system, right? It can happen, right? Previously I gave something which is from internet, right? Like whenever I gave something, let us give one more from internet. I'll just give something here. So from internet, you may have your own website, right? You may have your own website like putri.com, where you have uploaded your image, right? And let us say you are giving,
right.
If you want anyone to, if you are working for a big organization, if you want if they want your photograph to be published, you will give your link to them, right? Instead of just sending your image
Right.
via mail. So that's why we are just giving something like this. Like, let me take this as some other, like, want show some images, and I'm just taking some example, right? It doesn't,
Yeah.
I'll just take something which is, let me take a small one because it is killing something. Sorry, let me take some medium size one. Okay, let me take some image. Let me take some image. Okay, wait, let me take this up. So can you see this? This is nothing but a,
Mm.
right? Anyways, faculty will not be like this. Okay, so this is the image URL, right? Take this image
Right.
and take this image and browse in anywhere. Let me open some other browser, right? It will give you the same result. Am I right? So that's why we are using,
Right.
this is nothing but a hyperlink. So let us use, even for this guy, let us use the same, which is, right? Let me give the hyperlink here and click test. When I click on test, it will go on here and test, right? We will get this image, right? So that is nothing but your hyperlink. Because why I gave this hyperlink is, I mean, you can give, if you have your own site, you can just give your own thing, right? So let us say my other browser open. If I give this URL, you will get the same image, right? Because your image is being saved in this location, fine? So that's how we give. And again, let me give experience as 0, right? 0 is my experience. When I say 0, it should be a fresher, right? And my default joining date, if you want to do change your date, let us say you have joined in 4th, let us say he teaches some Java, and save it up. Now you can see, right, a faculty 2 is being created. Now
Yeah.
it's bit, it's going much bigger, but anyways, it's work. Now can you see here, it's a fresher, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he was a 0 experience, that's why he was a fresher, fine? So that's why, that's how we actually go and add items. So we have seen items which is like, what exactly. So why this column is being shown? Can do you have any idea on this, right? We just added course, right? If you can see, all these courses are added from courses list, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you go back to this, if you go back to something called course column, let me go back to course column again, like list settings, and go back to some courses, right?
Yeah, because they were interconnected, right?
Yeah,
Because
it
of
is,
that.
first point is it is interconnected, but I said I also wanted to show something called duration. Can you see this?
No.
If I remove this duration, let us see what happens. If you remove this duration, let's go back to list courses. Can you see the duration? I'm sorry, go back to faculties. You will never be able to see the duration, right? It just shows what is
No,
the,
it's gone.
but let
Yeah.
us say you want to see the duration. That's why what we did, we just went to list
List
settings,
things.
right? And courses, we just said I also, if course is selected, I also want to see the duration. And
Duration.
even
Yeah.
here what it does is, see, can you see here, this faculty 1 can teach .NET and SharePoint, right? You can see here it
Right.
shows everything
It's
with semicolon.
interconnected.
.NET, C#.NET is 85 days, right? And SharePoint is
Right.
25 days. So these how,
25.
so that's how we added. And again we are calculating this designation based on experience with some formula, fine? So you have any doubts still here, Kritik?
So far, no. I just need to go over the video and then
Yeah,
see what happens.
I'll just post this video right away. You can just take it in 1 or 2
Yeah.
hours, right? Let's stop
Yeah.
here and we'll continue the same tomorrow, right? I'll just save that. This fine.
Okay.
Okay,
I
can
just
you
wanted
say?
to ask you that
I'm sorry.
yesterday I didn't get a chance. Yesterday I didn't get a chance to play around or create my site collection, so I'm going to do it today. And
Okay.
then if I can't do it, can you? Is it possible you can come around 11:30 tomorrow so you can help me to do it? If I can't do it, I'll email you. I'll let you know what happens.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Sure. I'll do that. Not a
Okay.
problem. Sure.
All right, I'll email you.
Okay,
No
fine,
problem.
Trupti, not a problem. I'll do that for you. Okay,
Okay.
Trupti. Okay, then.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
See you
Have a nice day.
tomorrow.
Bye. See you.
All right. Bye bye.